that it's actually either 9 or 11 books. 9 or 11.
Oh, okay. So not 17.
No,
okay.
I don't think it's 17, no.
It's probably a printing I've never seen.
But he said it's a complete set.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, very good.
Yeah, well, yeah.
When are you picking it up? Today?
Because he lives next, no, he lives in the same town as me, so he can bring it round to me on Tuesday or Wednesday when I get back.
You know what? I'd love to read the book maybe, but if you want me to read the book, if you want me to look like a... No, you won't find them because they're all packed away.
There are glasses here.
There are glasses here. I think they have opticians because there are all kinds of glasses for different eyes.
I think I have your, but you have it on your...
Well, I do, but if you want me to look like a sadhu reading from the scripture, then I can do that. And you get so used to reading from this, and we're doing this to make the page bigger. It doesn't work. But it's good for us to keep reading small.
I think Maharaj did something.
Mahamantra did something. And these glasses are the glasses that will make the opticians out of business because they're one glasses that fit everyone, right?
And I hope it works. Work? No? Not so much? Doesn't do much?
What about these Maharaj?
No, my goodness, what a
They
drama.
don't work, these glasses.
Huh? Okay, we're live. So dear devotees and friends, I didn't know we're live. We are trying to adjust with spectacles for reading better. This is the parampara system. We think we put something in front of the eye, it will disturb our vision. But if we can put something which is clarifying, like a lens in front of our eye, then it will make things clearer. And so the parampara system, Guru Maharaj describes as being that system of lenses, so that we are able to have a clearer understanding of the upper world. Anyhow, we are, they've been singing Arati here, Arati to, or Kirtan to our gurus, Guru Vaga, and then Tulsi Parikrama with the early morning song saying about the sky is coming light. But we did it when the sky is already light. And then, now they've been chanting bhajan. So we're in West London, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, and reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in Navadip, we did invent, I have a collection of spectacles. We did invent a bookmark. Do you remember that bookmark? We had a bookmark. You remember, Ch.Ch. Devi remembers the bookmark, she's nodding. Because if you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, when you end, it's fine to put in a bookmark, but which of the 4 columns and which place did we end reading? So in Nabadi, we thought, okay, because different days people will be reading, they leave in the bookmark, then we made a bookmark. You put in the book, and it's got a left and a right side, and it's got a sliding thing on. And it's all made of cardboard. And that way we'd know exactly where we were. So now we're going to have to do the old-fashioned way. Who was here yesterday for morning reading?
Me, but we didn't read from Chaitanya Charitamrita Maharaj.
Okay, who was here the day before yesterday for the morning reading?
Me as well, but that was Nandotsava, and we were speaking, I was here, so I spoke about whatever I could about Nandotsava Srila Prabhupada from Maharaj.
Okay, so we're going to read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we're going to continue from where the bookmark is in the book. And I see that there is a question and an answer. So this, oh my goodness, this is the chapter. Okay, they're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela chapter 20. And this is, every chapter is important. This chapter is the Lord Chaitanya instructs Sanatana Goswami. And what is happening here is that Sanatana Goswami has come to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I'm not sure where we are. I'll just give some background reading and then we'll start with the question and then answers. So Sanatana Goswami is going to question Mahaprabhu. So we're reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela chapter 20. We're going to start at least reading the text from text number 51 of this chapter. So Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. And I'm trying to get comfort. Prahlad Maharaj points out, we try to get our own satisfaction is the beginning of our problem in this world. But we have to be a little practical. So Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, who has given this book to us, made it available to the world. Shri Rupanuga Guru Bhaga ki Jai. So Madhya Leela chapter 20, text 51. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Sanatana Goswami in the courtyard, he immediately went up to him with great haste. After embracing him, the Lord was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. So the Lord embraced Sanatana Goswami, and the Lord was overcome with ecstatic love. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched Sanatana Goswami, Sanatana was also overwhelmed with ecstatic love. In a faltering voice he said, "O my Lord, do not touch me." Shoulder to shoulder, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami began to cry unlimitedly. Chandrasekhar was very much astonished to see this. Deki Chandrasekhara Hoila. What word coming next? Deki Chandrasekhara Hoila. Chamatkara. Astonished. Okay. Next. Catching his hand, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took Sanatana Goswami inside and made him sit on an elevated place next to him. So Mahaprabhu sitting somewhere a little high, and then you sit with me on this place like that. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began cleansing Sanatana Goswami's body with his own hand, Sanatana Goswami said, "O my Lord, please do not touch me." The Lord replied, "I am touching you just to purify myself, because by the force of your devotional service, you can purify the whole universe." And then, quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, Yudhishthira Maharaj speaking to Vidura, and famous verse that you maybe know, you might know it, is Bhavat Vidha Bhagavat Tas Tita Bhuta Swayam Prabho Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani Svanta Stena Gara Bhrita. Quote, "Saints of your caliber are themselves places of pilgrimage. Because of their purity, they are constant companions of the Lord, and therefore they can purify even the places of pilgrimage." Hare Krishna. And another quote. Let's see. Well, it's bigger, at least. Very extraordinary. Then, quoting another verse, which, quote, even though a person is a very learned scholar of the Sanskrit Vedic literatures, he is not accepted as my devotee, so this is Krishna speaking, unless he is pure in devotional service. However, even though a person is born in a family of dog-eaters, he is very dear to me if he is a pure devotee who has no motive to enjoy fruitive activity or mental speculation. Indeed, all respects should be given to him, and whatever he offers should be accepted. Such devotees are as worshipable as I am. Purport: this verse is included in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, compiled by Sanatana Goswami. And another quote. Govinda. One may be born, so this is spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. We were mentioning him just before. This was spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. One may be born in a Brahmana family and have all 12 Brahminical qualities, but if he is not devoted to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who has a navel shaped like a lotus, he is not as good as a Chandala who has dedicated his mind, words, activities, wealth and life to the service of the Lord. And a Chandala is a low caste person, dog eater. Worse even than that is a cow eater. Sorry. Simply to take birth in a Brahmana family or to have Brahminical qualities is not sufficient. One must become a pure devotee of the Lord. If a Shvapacha or Chandala is a devotee, he delivers not only himself but his whole family. Whereas a Brahmana who is not a devotee but simply has Brahminical qualifications cannot even purify himself, what to speak of his family. These are very familiar verses. Well, I hope they're familiar to you, but these are very familiar. Now Mahaprabhu is speaking in Bengali and not in Sanskrit. He's not quoting, he's speaking Bengali. But sometimes we have to be a little practical in our life. And now, for those of you like Maha Mantra Prabhu, who may recognize the Bengali, Tomma Deki, so Mahaprabhu speaking to Sanatana Goswami, sitting on a raised place. Tomma Deki, Tomma Deki. Anyway, very difficult for me to see the book. And actually this is in the verses are in italics and thin italics. And actually this is Gurudev. Gurudev, he stressed, no, they should be Roman and bold so we can actually see the verses clearly. And it is very difficult to read italics for ourselves. So let me see if we can just quickly find Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. And maybe Mahamantra can find the text. Or chapter 20, text 60. And so, well, I'll leave it to you. You are a bright young man who knows about digital things. But you just have to find it there. Anyway, I'll read the English. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, by seeing you, by touching you, and by glorifying your transcendental qualities, one can perfect the purpose of all sense activity. This is the verdict of the revealed scriptures. This is Mahaprabhu saying to Sanatana Goswami. And
Chapter 20, verse?
Verse 61. Madhya Lila, which it is, by the way, I hope. So, by seeing you, by touching you, and by glorifying your transcendental qualities, one can perfect the purpose of all sense activity. This is the verdict of the revealed scriptures. And then, as Mahaprabhu does on so many occasions, he's giving a quotation from the scripture, because he's saying that. And then he's not just saying it out of, some words, but Mahaprabhu, he's showing with the example from the scripture. And so now giving a Sanskrit quote from the Hari Bhakti Suddha Doya. It's in Sanskrit, which means, translation, my dear Vaishnava, seeing a person like you is the perfection of one's eyesight. Touching your lotus feet is the perfection of the sense of touch. And glorifying your good qualities is the tongue's real activity. For in the material world, it is very difficult to find a pure devotee of the Lord. Actually, if you just search 20.61, it should come up quite quickly. Or whatever the system is in the book for the numbering. Okay. Next verse, Mahaprabhu continued. Et kohe Prabhu. So saying this, kohe Prabhu, the Mahaprabhu continued to speak. Et kohe Prabhu. Shunna Sanatan. Listen, Sanatan. Krishna Bora Doya Moi Patita Pavana. You see, you know some Bengali. Mahaprabhu said, listen, Sanatan. Krishna is what? What's Doyamoy?
Merciful.
Very merciful. And Patita Pavan.
Saviors the fallen.
Good enough. So, Etta Kohi, what Mahaprabhu, having said what he just said, Kohe Prabhu, we all know, Kohe Prabhu spoke, Mahaprabhu, Shunna Sanatan, listen Sanatan. So, Etta Kohe Prabhu, Shunna Sanatan, Krishna Boradoya Moi, Patita Pavana. Then, Prabhu, are you writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Very close, Maharaj. Very close.
Are you writing Chaitanya Charitamrita? You're catching it from the Akash and writing.
Go zoom in, go zoom out. I'm struggling, but I'm already in chapter 20.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Sorry, Maharaj.
No, it's okay. It's always good. I'm going to do just a little, one moment. 20.62. So search for 20.62. Search. Okay. Et kohe Prabhu Shunna Sanatan. And now it's collapsed on me. Shunna Sanatan Krishna Borodaya Moi Patita Pavan. And for those of you who are aging a little bit, these are made for old people. They work very well. So then text 63, which we were a little struggling with just now. Maharorava. Anybody knows what is Maharorava? You know what is Maharorava. Where is Rorava? What is Rorava? Hell, yes. So what about Maharorava? Yeah, the greatest hell. Wonderful book, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Maharorava hoite toma karilla udhara kripara sumudra Krishna gambira apara. My dear Sanatan, Krishna has saved you from Maharorava, life's deepest hell. Krishna is an ocean of mercy, and his activities are very grave, Gambhira. Okay, I think you all know where Sanatan was coming from. He was a minister in the government of the meat-eaters, which means guilty by association, something like that. And then now Sanatan Goswami, he left all that behind to come to the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu is saying that you've been saved, that Krishna has saved you from Maharorava, life's deepest hell. Krishna is an ocean of mercy and his activities are very grave. Then next verse, Sanatana Kohe, Sanatan Prabhu said, I do not know who Krishna is. Krishna ami jani nai. Oh, okay. Krishna ami nahi jani. Sorry. Krishna ami nahi jani. One of the first expressions we learn in Bengal, when people come talking to us in Bengali, is Ami Bangla Jani Na. I, Bengali, do not know. Ami Bangla Jani Na. So here, Krishna Ami Nahi Jani. Sanatana Kohe. Krishna Ami Nahi Jani. Amara Udhara Hetu Tomara Kripa Mani. I do not know who is Krishna. As far as I am concerned, I have been released from prison only by your mercy. Oh, okay. So it's for the context. So actually, Mahaprabhu could have been referring to his position in the government, but then when Sanatan tried to leave his government service and retire, he wasn't allowed to. And then he still insisted, so the governor put him in jail. And then now he got out of jail the Bengali way, with a little assistance from the jail keepers. Okay, the Bengali way everybody knows, yes? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Sanatan Goswami, how were you released from prison? Aha, we may just find out now. How were you released from prison? Sanatan then described the story from beginning to end. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I met your two brothers, Rupa and Anupam. Rupa and Anupam. At Prayag. They have now gone to Vrindavan. So, okay, so our context is that this is the meeting when Mahaprabhu has gone to Vrindavan, and in his first attempt to go to Vrindavan, he met Rupa and Sanatan at Ramakeli when they were still in the government employ. They were employed by the government. And then he tried to go to Vrindavan that time, but so many were accompanying him, and then he came back to Puri, and then went quietly to Vrindavan with only one or two persons. Balabhadra went with him, and one other person to help assist along the way. And so he went quietly to Vrindavan, and then after being in Vrindavan, he came back on his way back to Puri. He went to Prayag, Allahabad, which is now called Mahaprayag. It's been renamed in the recent Indian government, called the confluence of the Ganga, Jamuna and Saraswati. There he met Rupa Goswami and instructed Rupa Goswami, and then sent Rupa Goswami to Vrindavan. And then from there, if you walk along, then you come to Varanasi, Benares. And in Benares, then he's meeting Sanatan Goswami. So he's saying, I met your two brothers in Prayag, Rupa and Anupam, and now I'm meeting you here. So they have gone to Vrindavan. Okay, so now Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj is narrating. By the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sanatan Goswami met both Tapana Mishra and Chandrasekhara Acharya And those two were looking after Mahaprabhu during his stay in Varanasi. Tapana Mishra then extended an invitation to Sanatan, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Sanatan to go and get a shave. I am not making it up, it is there. Okay? Told Sanatan Goswami to go and get a shave, because he'd been in jail, number one. Number two, he's been walking all the way across from East India, across the country, so he didn't have a Gillette razor blade or anything like that, and so he's somewhat disheveled. Means needs a shave. So anyway, Mahaprabhu asked Sanatan to go and get a shave. Kshaura karaha, get shaved. There you are. Then, after this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Chandrasekhar and asked him to take Sanatan Goswami with him. He also asked him to take away Sanatan's present dress, his present clothing. Chandrasekhar then made Sanatan Goswami look like a gentleman, because he is a bit of a mess, having come from the prison and the forests and everything else. So Chandrasekhar then made Sanatan Goswami look like a gentleman. He took him to bathe in the Ganges, and afterwards he brought him a new set of clothes. Then, Se Vastra Sanatan Na Koila Angikara Shunya Prabhura Mani Ananda Apara. Acha. So Chandrasekhar offered a new set of garments to Sanatan Goswami, but Sanatan Goswami did not accept them. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this news, he became unlimitedly happy. Ananda Apara. Then, after bathing at noon, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of Tapana Mishra for lunch. He took Sanatan Goswami with him. It says here, after washing his feet. I think it must be Tapana Mishra, it's H with a capital H. So, Mishra supplies Sanatan Goswami. Yes, it must, because they've gone to Tapana Mishra's for lunch. Tapana Mishra is going to give them. So they've arrived there, so it must be Tapana, after Tapana Mishra washed the Lord's feet, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down for lunch. Mahaprabhu asked Tapana Mishra to supply Sanatan Goswami lunch also. He just arrived to give him some food. Mishra kohe, Tapana Mishra said, Sanatinara kichu kritya ache, tumi bhikshakara, prashatari dibe pache. Okay, so Tapana Mishra said, Sanatan has some duty to perform. Therefore he cannot accept lunch now. At the conclusion of the meal, I shall supply Sanatan with some remnants. Well, yes. Tumi bhikshakara, prasada tari diva pache. Later. Bhikshakari Mahaprabhu, Vishram Korila, left side down. You know, all the devotees. I haven't read it, but apparently it is so. After eating, left side down to rest, and it's called Vishram. It's not called Gum. Gum is deep sleep. Vishram is rest. So, Bhikshakari Mahaprabhu, Vishram Korila, Mishra Prabhura Shesha Patra Sanatane Dila. And then Jagannath Mishra gave the remnants of Mahaprabhu's food to Sanatan Goswami. Okay, do you want the official translation? After eating, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rested for a while. Tapana Mishra then gave Sanatan Goswami the remnants of food left by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mishra Sanatani Dila Nutan Vasana Vastra Nahi Nila Teho Koila Nivedana. When Tapana Mishra offered Sanatan some new cloth, then Sanatana did not accept it. Instead, he spoke as follows. So what did Sanatana Goswami say? He said, More vastra dite jadi tomara hoya mana nija paridhana eka deha puratana. Old, if you want to give me some cloth according to your desire, please give me an old cloth that you have used. He didn't want to take new cloth. Then thereafter, Tabe Mishra Puratana Eka Dhuti Dila. Eka Dhuti Dila. Teho Dui Bahi Basha Kopina Korila. So when Tapana Mishra gave Sanatana Goswami a used dhoti, Sanatana Goswami immediately tore it into pieces. Not for no reason, but to make 2 sets of outer cloth and underwear. So from one dhoti, he tore it, so he got the coping and the outer cloth from chadar and whatever it may, maybe not even a top thing, maybe not a chadar, but like 2 short dhotis and a coping at least. Okay. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the Maharashtrian Brahmana to Sanatana, because this Maharashtrian Brahmana was accompanying Mahaprabhu on the way back. When they're coming back, then he joined with Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu was very happy to have him with him. He was not with him on the way, but coming back from Vrindavan, then was accompanied by this Maharashtrian Brahmana from Maharashtra, which is still a state in India. When Mahaprabhu introduced the Maharashtrian Brahmana to Sanatana, the Brahmana immediately invited Sanatana Goswami for full meals. Sanatana, tumi javat kashite rahiba, tavat amara ghare bhiksha jay koriba. The Brahmana said, Dear Sanatana, as long as you remain at Kashi, Kashi is another name for Banaras and another name is Varanasi. 3 names, maybe more. My dear Sanatana, as long as you remain at Kashi, please accept lunch at my home. Sanatana kohe, Ami madhukari koriba, Brahmanera nghora, kene ekatra bhiksha laba. Sanatana said, I shall practice the process of madhukari. Why should I accept full meals at the house of a single Brahman, at one place? Hare Krishna Sanatanera Vairagye Prabhura Ananda Apara Bhota Kambala. Bhota Kambala. Okay? Bhota is wool, and Kambal, we know Kambal. In Bengal, Gurudeva asks you have Kambal? Have Kambal? I'm not sure. But Kambal is keeping warm. The blanket, chadar, this kind of thing. You know the woolen chadars. Very nice and very practical for keeping warm. And so Bhota Kambala, woolen chadar. Bhota Kambala, Pane Prabhu Chahe Bare Bara. So yes, Mahaprabhu is seeing that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt unlimited happiness to observe Sanatana Goswami's strict following of the principles of sannyas. However, Mahaprabhu repeatedly glanced at the woolen blanket Sanatana Goswami was wearing. And the history of this is on his way to Kashi, Sanatana Goswami had met by chance one of his relatives, and that relative had given him a nice blanket to keep warm on his way through. But it was a nice blanket. But Sanatana Jana Lila E Prabhure Na Bhaya. So Sanatana could understand. So because Mahaprabhu was repeatedly glancing at this valuable woolen blanket, Sanatana Goswami could understand that the Lord did not approve of it. He then began to consider a way to give it up. Bhota, that woolen thing. Tyaga Karibari Chintila Upaya. So, Etta Chinti So thinking this, Gela, Gangaya, Madhyana, Korita. So then he's going for his ablutions. Thinking in this way, Sanatana Goswami went to the bank of the Ganges to bathe. While there, he saw that a mendicant from Bengal had washed his quilt and spread it out to dry. Sanatana Goswami then told the Bengali mendicant, "My dear brother, Ore bhai." Okay, Tare kohe, he said, Sanatana said to him, "Ore bhai, kora upakara e bhota loya e kanta deha mora." I take yours and I'll give you mine. "My dear brother, please do me a favor. Trade me your quilt for this woolen blanket." Say kohe, saying this, the mendicant replied, so he said that, and then the mendicant replied, "Sir, you are a respectable gentleman. Why are you joking with me? Why would you trade your valuable blanket for my torn quilt?" Teho kahe. Sanatan replied, said, "I am not joking. I am speaking the truth. Kindly take this blanket in exchange for your torn quilt." Saying this, Sanatana Goswami exchanged the blanket for the quilt. He then returned to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with this quilt on his shoulder. "Prabhu kohe." So Mahaprabhu said, "Tomara woolen bhota kambala kota gela." Where? Kota gela. "Prabhu pade," oh, that's what he said. Then "Prabhu pade soba kata gosai kohila." So, at the lotus feet of the Lord, he said. So anyway, when Mahaprabhu returned, the Lord said, "Where is your woolen blanket?" Sanatana Goswami then narrated the whole story to the Lord. Then Prabhu kohe, "Iha ami koriachi vichara." I was testing you. Correct? Vichara? Oh, considering. Okay. We'll come straight. Mahaprabhu said, "I have already deliberately considered this matter. Since Lord Krishna is very merciful, he has nullified your attachment for material things. So why should Krishna allow you to maintain a last bit of material attachment? After vanquishing a disease, a good physician does not allow any of the disease to remain." And we've seen some things in our life like this. In the West, every operation is like hugely expensive, but in India, some doctors are there and some on Bangor Avenue, doing surgery on Bangor Avenue, just, all those shops. It's one of those doorways behind the doctor doing surgery and taking out some bad growth, but they're giving much attention to take out every last part, not to leave any bit behind. And we saw that with our own eyes, how they're careful not just to take out the main part, but anything which is possibly related being removed. So this is what Mahaprabhu is saying. And he's already, Sanatana's given up everything. He's given up all things from stately position in society. But one last nice cloth. So this example Mahaprabhu is given. And all of this is for our benefit. Sanatana is an eternal associate of the Lord. All of these things, but for our teaching. Okay, so Mahaprabhu is still speaking to Sanatana. "It is contradictory to practice madhukari and at the same time wear a valuable blanket. One loses his spiritual strength by doing this, and one will also become an object of jokes." Then Sanatana Goswami replied, "The Supreme Personality of Godhead has saved me from the sinful life of material existence. By his desire, my last piece of material attraction is now gone." Then Krishna's Kaviraj narrating, "Being pleased with Sanatana Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his causeless mercy upon him. By the Lord's mercy, Sanatana Goswami received the spiritual strength to inquire from him. Formerly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had asked Ramananda Roy spiritual questions, and by the Lord's causeless mercy, Ramananda Roy could properly reply. Now, by the Lord's mercy, Sanatana Goswami questioned to the Lord, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally supplied the truth. So, the very famous Ramananda Samvad, famous from Guru Maharaj, pointing this out so much, there Mahaprabhu is asking to Ramananda, and Ramananda, like an instrument, is replying to Mahaprabhu. Here, Sanatana Goswami is going to ask to Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu is going to reply himself. And at this point, then we'll end our reading today from here. So, Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. And if it is possible, it is possible, right in front of you. We just have a few words because we are hearing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we didn't really read much purport today, but the purports by Srila Prabhupada, the translation by Srila Prabhupada. But we'll for a few moments read, even for a few moments, something from Srila Gurudev. And yesterday we were reading In Search of the Original Source, a very small booklet, not to be ignored because everything is inside it. And we'll find in a minute the right page for the bookmark here. It's on the wrong page now. So, Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki Jai, and Jai In Search of the Original Source, a little booklet of Srila Gurudev, and principally made up of a talk given in Mexico at the Morelia one center in Morelia, of which we've seen the photo, and I've seen that place. The devotees took us on pilgrimage during the winter festival arranged by Ashram Maharaj one year. Was in Morelia, and they took us and showed where Gurudev was. So, Gurudev speaking, and this part is separated into chapters, but this chapter, for just a very few minutes, don't worry. The process of a real search, or the process of a real search, whether we are in England or America. Okay. So, Jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Gurudev speaking. It is written in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahmanda Brahmite Konna Bhagyavanna Jiva Guru Krishna Prashare Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. And then Gurudev is speaking, he's not giving us a strict translation, but he's saying, when the Jiva souls have unfortunately come into this material environment, which is not their real home, naturally they will try to return to their permanent home. Sometimes, when they will not get the proper direction, still they will try to go somewhere. They are always feeling like refugees who have come out of their own country and lived many years in another country, but cannot forget their own country. That is our situation. So we have unfortunately taken birth here, but we're not really at home, like refugees who've come out of their own country and lived many years in another country, but they cannot forget their own country. So this is our situation. Okay, I'll try not to repeat, I suppose. So Gurudev is saying, the Lord has all power. The Lord has all power. Without power, creation is not possible. And without the powerful, creation is also not possible. We can search in many ways, but finally we must go to the powerful. Otherwise, success is not possible. Gurudev so clear, so clear. And the rishis have researched in that way to find that power and powerful. Through mundane knowledge, it will not be possible to get it. Through mundane knowledge, it will not be possible to get it. When they understood this, the rishis, they tried to get it from the higher level, and they researched in that way. No? And they researched in which way it will be possible to get it. I'm going to close this. I really don't feel happy to put this on top of Chaitanya Charitamrita. But we need to put the marker in later when we know the place. Okay. So when they understood that it will... when they understood that we can't get from material knowledge, then they tried to get it from the higher level, and they researched in which way it will be possible to get it. That transcendental knowledge has been given in Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna. Daivihi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prabhadyate mayam etang tarantite. And this is quotation. Oh my dear Arjuna, fortunately, if anyone will take shelter of me, I will give relief to him from the illusory environment. Otherwise, if not take shelter of me, otherwise, to get relief from this illusory environment is not so easy, because Maya is very powerful. That's the quote, that's the translation of the quote. And then Gurudev saying, we have come out from the marginal potency. Maya is ruling the shadow potency. But our home is existing in the transcendental potency. And yesterday in the reading, then Gurudev was explaining about this whole world is like a shadow or a reflection. We're living in the shadow. It doesn't have all the dimensions. The shadow is only giving an idea of kind of reality. It's moving, things are happening, but you don't get detail, you don't get 3 dimensions, you don't get flavor. So many things you don't get in a shadow. But it's not unrelated. It's got its origin. So we have... unfortunately, we have jumped into Maya. Unfortunately, we have jumped into Maya. But it is not our real home. Our father, our mother, everything is transcendental. We are spirit, and we must live in our spiritual home. But unfortunately, we have come into this situation. So, which way will we go back to our country, to our home? That is necessary to understand. Very straightforward. Very straightforward, very clear. In this material world, we can see so many species of life. The research scholars of transcendental knowledge have said that there are 84 lakhs of species, which means 8,400,000. Lakh is a term they're using in India, which is 100,000. 100,000, they say, is a lakh. Then giving the quote, Jala Jala Navalakshani, and then Gurudev just explaining, but he's explaining. There are 900,000 species of aquatics, 2 million species of plants and trees, 1,100,000 species of insects. 1 million species of birds, for all the ornithologists in the world. So 1 million species of birds, 3 million animal species, and 400,000 species of human beings. Therefore, it is very rare to get this human body, but it has fortunately come to us, and it is of utmost importance. With this human form, one can understand and find the way for studying the spiritual world and for seeking the essence of transcendental knowledge. Thus, the value of this human body is supreme. The animals have brains, they have willing, feeling and thinking, but not in an organized way. But in the human form, one who is not a madman has some organizational ability within his brain. Whoever will feel, will and think is a spirit soul living within the body. When this spirit soul leaves the body becomes useless, and within a few days it will decompose. Once that spirit soul has gone out of the body, it cannot enter into it again. That spirit's sadness or happiness we cannot feel from here. Ch.Ch. Okay, the spirit has gone from the body. That spirit that's gone from the body, sadness or happiness, we cannot feel from here. But the research scholars, the rishis, they can feel it through their subtle level or mental level. They can understand the situation. And through their research, they have given us this knowledge. Believe it and search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. We want reality, and it is beautifully existing in our real home. There, everything is transcendental. Everything is beautiful, harmonious, lovely, and affectionate. Okay, that's where we're going to end today, because we did hear about our unfortunate situation. We have jumped into Maya. And now we've heard about our fortunate situation. We've got a human body with some organized thinking, and we are now hearing what the most organized thinking persons who focused on solving the problem of why are we not at home and how to go back, what are they giving us? And very quickly, Gurudev said that the rishis can understand the situation, and through their research they have given us this knowledge. Then Gurudev is just simply from there saying, believe it and search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. And we want reality, and it is beautifully existing in our real home. There everything is transcendental, everything is beautiful, harmonious, lovely and affectionate. Jai, our affectionate, lovely, beautiful, harmonious Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai, she revealed, revealed truth, yes, wonderful, ki Jai, but original source, ki Jai. And we always recommend to everybody, please try to read Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj every day. And if we read Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev in the morning, in the evening, read something from Srila Guru Maharaj, because this is our healthy diet, as well as the worship of the Lord, the chanting in Sankirtan, the chanting our japa, taking only prasadam, being humble, tolerant, not giving humble, tolerant, giving honor to others, not wanting honor for oneself. Better get it right, we're on the recording, okay? And all the other things that go with the life of a devotee. Not to criticize anyone, not to hear criticism of everyone, not to engage in mundane topics, not to have anything to do with the material things of the world, which are only topics which are inviting death, but we want to invite life in the way that the rishis are giving us, to be absorbed 25 hours a day in the shelter of the holy name, especially now in Kali Yuga. And we have the Maha Mantra. We heard of Maha Raurava at the beginning of our reading. Oh no, at the beginning of our reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And now we're hearing of the Maha Mantra, the greatest mantra. So we have all things, and we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's gift. We are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu conscious. This must be there. So Nitai and Gauranga, Guru and Gauranga. And we've got the greatest opportunity ever right now. Best time ever. And wonderful, it's Kali Yuga. Let us be reminded that we are in Kali Yuga, the best time for coming home back to Godhead. But we mustn't jump into Maya and be a member of Kali Yuga. We'll be a member of those who are making the positive use of their life to come out of all of this. And if we choose to stay in it, it is very unfortunate. And in the songs we see, it's like committing suicide. We've got our chance of life instead of life. We want to engage in all the mundane things and commit suicide by neglecting to nourish our spiritual self. If you don't eat, you're going to die. You're going to get diseased and die if you don't eat. In the material world, it's clear you get diseased and go down. If you don't eat in our spiritual way, we'll be diseased and go down. But there is always hope, because causeless mercy is coming from up to down. And they see that we're trying. Okay, so we'll finish our reading now, and as we do, they do, one does. Sing Hari Hari Nama Krishna, but we're way over time, meant to finish at 8, so just first 4 verses, and then Hare Krishna, Nitai Gaura Hari. Because we all have seva to do, things to do in the day. You singing? Maha Mantra Prabhu is going to sing. Maha Mantra. I know, sorry Prabhu, you probably get this all the time.
Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya